So I would imagine that's, I mean, it's not a bad way. You get hired to a position group, and then a month later they bring in, what were your conversations like during that process?
Yeah, it was great. Great addition. Obviously, I was happy, of course. But the conversations were just pretty typical. Anytime you're acquiring players, doing your research, talking to the people that evaluating the tape. So they were pretty normal. But Burns is who he is, and his reputation precedes him. So the conversations were overwhelmingly positive everywhere we turned.
Is Isaiah Simmons part of your group? Like, how does that? I mean, I know he's very versatile and do a lot of different things. So
yeah, he's not at the moment. He is not. But I've had experience with him in Arizona, so I'd welcome him anytime. And it's kind of nice seeing his familiar face as well.
Well, what do you think it can do for Kayvon, or for both of them, really, to have, there's one or there's two? When there's two, how much does that help the one?
Oh, it's big time. It's big time. Anytime an offense can key into one player, that challenges that particular player, but also the scheme. So now, having another proven rusher opposite Kayvon, someone has to get the attention. And Dex, there's three bona fide experienced guys up front. And the offense can only choose a certain amount, and if they start altering their protection and keeping guys in to protect, then the routes get limited downfield. So the more rushes you can have, it helps all of them. There's no doubt.
Did you study a lot of last year's tape of the Giants?
I did at my position, yeah.
Yeah, and what did you see Kayvon getting a lot of? There wasn't always that second guy there. Did you see a lot of attention to Kayvon?
Yeah, a normal amount. Mm-hmm. A normal amount. I think as he improves in his career, he'll get more. And eventually that'll be something he has to, work on, just knowing that it comes with the territory. But he got a normal amount, I'd say.
Where can he grow, in your opinion?
Yeah, Kayvon, I think, is just, consistency is the biggest area. Learning how to be a pro and understanding all that goes with it and what the pro game entails and how to be a great pass rusher. That's first and foremost. And I think having someone like Burns in the room working alongside him will help him, be an example that shows him, where those next steps can come and how he can become consistent.
Right. Burns at the softball game the other day that Dexter had, he just seemed like he was part of the group already. What has struck you about him and his ability to mesh and sort of fall right in with the other guys? Yeah,
he's a really good person. I remember him coming out, back in 2019. So he's a great person. He's just a personable guy who enjoys people and teammates. And so I think it's just his natural personality kind of just, taking over and meshing with the guys naturally.
What's the transition been like with the coaching staff?
It's been great. I mean, a lot of good people here, top down from this organization, again, the New York Football Giants, it's an honor for me to coach here. I mean, there's not many organizations like this. So that's been cool. And then just from a coaching staff standpoint, a lot of good guys who are proven football coaches. So it's been fun thus far.
What have you seen from, Shane? Because he's new here, a bunch of new guys, what he's going to bring in and change.
Shane is, he wants the way that we play, the manner in which we play, the style in which we play to be a certain way. And he wants it to be attacking. And for any defensive coach, that's all you can ask for. So he believes it, he preaches it, and it trickles down to the position coaches. So it's easy for us to bring that mentality to our rooms, knowing that the coordinator supports it and wants it, because that's what defensive players want to do.
You don't coach Dexter necessarily on a day-to-day basis, but how integral is he to everything your guys are trying to do and can do?
Big time. Very integral. Pass rush is always about a coordinated effort, and depending on how many you rush with, that number could be 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, but most of the time you rush with 4 guys, so there's 2 guys on the edge, 2 guys in the middle, and all those components are vital, and one isn't more important than the other, but having legit players at each position helps. And Dex is a proven player. His skill set, he's big and powerful and can push the pocket, taking away step-up lanes from the quarterback, which could flush quarterbacks to the edge guys, and so if all those guys are doing their job together, their chances of success go up, and he's just such a great person and worker, which is huge.
How do you look at what looks like a very young secondary for you guys now that X is gone? Could be I don't know, Cordell, Banks, Newbin, all these guys? How do you look at handling such a young
I'm
group?
glad I'm bald. You know, every year is a new year. Every year you have new challenges. Obviously, we're going to have some new faces on the grass. For us, the expectation is that we're going to play well. They're going to figure it out. Obviously, there's some growing that we all have to do, me included, and everybody in the secondary, and we'll put in the work to get there. You know, I don't expect it to be an easy process. I don't expect this to be just throw it out there and it looks like you want it to look. It's going to be some growing pains, some lumps along the way, and hopefully, you know, we think that we have guys who will figure it out and will work their butt off to figure it out and to compete and to play tough, and we hope that shows up on Sunday.
How did you, Banks specifically, how did you look at his rookie year, and where do you see him taking the next step?
You know, I think overall a solid rookie year for him. You know, he had a lot of pressure. A lot of times, you know, a couple games we matched him up on their best guy, and you know, he was, you know, I think he did a solid job. Obviously, we'd like to see him grow and to be that number one corner, that true number one corner that you feel that, you know, I think there are some receivers in this league that against anybody, you're going to want to give a corner some help sometime. You're going to have to. Like there are some players in this league that just warrant that. You hope that against those guys that he plays a game where you're like, okay, that's even. That's an even matchup for the Giants. You hope he develops into that and is that. You know, he's working his butt off to get there. I'm pushing him to get there. And again, hopefully he is that guy for us.
Jerome, what does he need to do to be that number one? What does he need to take a step in?
Everything. You know, obviously you see his physical gifts and you're like, wow, like he's got that. But then he's got to make those physical gifts work for him every play, right? He's got to every play make himself use all of those gifts, and then he's got to grow in his awareness and his NFL like one-on-one knowledge. And again, we're working that and talking about that all the time in our meeting room and growing all of them that way. But that's where he can really make a big jump.
You mean like play more freely, or
no,
more
just
study on like what
more understanding of what this formation tells me. Like nothing in the NFL happens in a vacuum. Everything is built on something else, and there's always information. And I think the guys who become really productive players in the league, at some point in their career, they start letting their physical gifts like help them, but they're also using their mind to help them as well. That they're playing a game that's like much more knowledgeable than the eye would guess. Like they're seeing splits, they're seeing formation, down and distance. What does that tell me? And who is this receiver, and how does that factor in? Those are the areas where I'm hoping he's growing, that I'm pushing him to grow, but you know, I'm also pushing the rest of the room to do the same.
How different is, we know what Wink's defense was, where it was blitz and a lot of man coverage. Seems like Shane's going to be a lot different for the secondary. How would you describe the corner's job in Shane's defense?
You know, I'm still learning from Shane as we go, and I've told, you know, the guys that be patient with me, because every day, like, Shane's really, really, really sharp, really bright, and he knows what he wants in the defense. And every time he speaks, I'm learning. Like, I asked my guys this question the other day. I said, anybody remember that old commercial when E.F. Hutton speaks? Everybody listens, but nobody remembers because I'm so old now. But you know, that's how I look at Shane. Every time he's up coaching and talking, I'm locked in, trying to listen and learn and understand what he wants and how he wants it to look. The thing that I know is we're going to be competitive. We're going to fight. We're going to scratch. We're going to claw. We're going to play sound. We want to keep the ball in front of us. And I think, again, more four-man rush is what I anticipate you seeing on
which means more help for you guys. I mean, which means more four-man rush means more back seven guys to cover, right?
Yeah, more coverage principles and yes.
Jerome, when you look at, position groups, obviously you know what you have. The secondary is one place where you don't want to leave yourself short numbers-wise. So obviously, younger guys are going to want to play. You're going to want to get them ready to go faster and faster. You're bringing in 2 rookies, but you also have guys who have been around the last couple of years. How much of an emphasis is it for you to make sure, you're using this time to get a lot of the younger guys without experience up to speed to be able to contribute, not just be a part of the team?
That's what this time of year is for all of us, is to get them playing and making mistakes. Like, if they make a mistake, I'm okay with it now, because I think they've got to learn and play through mistakes now. And it's like touching that hot stove. Until you touch it and know that it's hot, it's not hot until you've had to touch it. And so with those rookies, I want them to touch the hot stove as much as they can now, so that by the time we are playing across the street, that they know that, okay, that stove is hot, don't touch that. And so this time of year for all these guys is for that. And then when you add on top of that, learning a new system where I'm learning, there are definitely challenges for us, but, we think that we have the right guys to fight through the challenges and put a good product on the field.
There's been a lot of change since we last spoke to you. Just curious, how much changes for you with learning Shane's defense and what your guys are going to be asked to do?
It really hasn't been a lot of change for me, because his system is very similar to what I've done in previous years. So it really hasn't been, just the verbiage. But other than that, it really hasn't been much change for me.
How about just technique-wise, what your guys are asked to do and compared to what they did last year?
No change. I do what I do.
I just mean with their responsibilities.
No, I do what I do.
Okay.
Right? So it hasn't been a change for me as far as that part goes. So that's been good for my guys, because they get a chance to just continue to get better at their craft.
How would you describe how much you ask of Dexter?
I think I put a lot on him, because for me, like I tell him all the time, I'm never satisfied. I want his game to continue to grow, and he still has a lot of areas in his game that he can still get better and improve. And as soon as he starts to think that he's made it as a player, then everybody's going to catch up to him, and you're on your way down. And I think I'm fortunate in my career that I've had a chance to be around multiple Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers, and saw how those guys continue to have their game grow every year and get better at something different in their game. And that's the thing that I stay on top of him about. There's part of his game that he's great at that I take away from him and say, right now, you can't use it. And if you do, I'm gonna fine you, right? It's gone. And so to get him to understand that he has to continue to add different elements to his game if he wants to be as great as he wants to be.
When you have a guy like Brian come in, what's your process as a coach in terms of getting caught up to speed on what he can do, and where do you see his strengths already and where his room for growth is?
He's extremely explosive and powerful and quick. There's a lot of areas of his game that he can continue to improve on. You do a lot of film study on a guy like that before you make the decision to go after him. So you pretty much have a good feel for who he is as an athlete and who he is as a player. But I think the good thing is now you get your hands on him, and you get to see how much he's willing to study and how much he's willing to buy into the different things that you're giving him to try to improve his game.